have. There were no takers. And I talked about this before. I had this Tasmanian devil that lived inside me when I was young. I was out of control. I was that kid in class that was a class clown. I was just disruptive. I just had this thing inside me that I felt like I couldn't control, and I needed to find a way to harness that. And I was able to harness that when I started a conversation with my grandmother about Jesus Christ. And that was the first prayer I remember when I was 13. And he came into my life when I was 13. And I started to calm down, I started to become focused, and my God gift started to flourish. But like God lets us do, we have free will, right? I ended up letting my God gift take over Brian and become the boss. And like God will do, whenever he chooses, he will pull that God gift to humble you, to see where you're at and see what you're going to do next.
Well, I followed your career. I never saw the God gift in you. I just saw this ability to...
The football, oh my God.
I saw people that hurt you. You hurting people is what I saw. When you retired, the doctor said that, because you retired young, 25, you'd hurt your shoulder. And the doctor said, you're a 25-year-old man, but you have the shoulders of a 60-year-old man. How do you feel now physically? We're going to get into spiritual, but physically, how do you feel?
I've had 29 surgeries, both my shoulders.
29?
29. I'll have a 30th one here whenever it comes to it.
We have a doctor right here, Dr. Sam.
I'm actually an experiment to a lot of the doctors. I've had both shoulders replaced. I've got 2 discs in my neck to replace, 2 discs in my low back to replace. I'm kind of that bionic guinea pig that they use where, we don't know how this is going to work, but if you're willing to go and try it, try it. Because I was in so much pain in the 90s. The 90s was the dark age for me. And I was too young, and the technology wasn't there. And I had started this grudge against God, and I think it amplified all of the pain in my life. But since giving my life back to the Lord, March 3rd, 2013, and the multiple surgeries and all of the things that happened, I feel we're amazing from the inside out. And I feel amazing from the inside out because he's given me the gift of peace and patience and prosperity. And he's given my life back to me.
Amen. I'm very grateful. Okay. I have one more question about football, and then I'll finish up. But 1987, you're playing the Denver Broncos, and you're playing for Seattle, and you started talking bad about John Elway to the press, and I don't know if you called him a girl or something, but you made fun of John Elway, and so in the stadium there were 10,000 people wearing "Ban the Boss" T-shirts, and so they were all cheering against you. They had these T-shirts. And what I found out later was that you were the one, if they'd looked inside, that you had actually printed the T-shirts and you were selling them for $15. So, is that true? And I need to know that story real quick. Well, just a minute, because I want to get to the faith stuff.
Keep in mind the oxygen level in Denver is a little less than it is down here, so you can get them persuaded pretty quickly. But honestly, I didn't know that shirt was our company shirt until after the game was over, and he just brought it up to me, and he saw our logo at the bottom of it, and I immediately called my agent and I said, hey, somebody's ripped off our company logo. He goes, no, I didn't want to distract you. I did that out of my own. I'll take advantage of the situation.
But the money went to charity, right?
Yeah, and I felt bad. I felt horrible about it. I just told him, I don't want to profit off of that. One, we lost the game. And two, I just felt like it was a bad way to start my career.
John Elway's right from here in Granada Hills.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Stanford.
So we can talk about John Elway.
But I didn't get in his head that day.
Okay.
Apparently I didn't.
Okay. I want to know 2 questions, and you can take a few minutes on this, but you talk about the dark days. How dark were they? That's the first part of this question. And the second part is how did you find the Lord, or how did the Lord find you in the midst of the darkness? Because there's guys here, whether you admit it or not, there's some guys here living in some darkness right now. How did God rescue you out of that darkness?
Well, the darkness was dark. I mean, I woke up every day in searing pain. I didn't know how I didn't even want to get to the next day. I didn't know how I was going to get to the end of that one day. And I was angry all the time. I was a dysfunctional father. I was a dysfunctional husband. I was a dysfunctional person. I lived life very selfishly. I just was lost. You know, I didn't have any connection to anything of value, anything was real. And a lot of that I go back to my relationship with my father. I didn't have a bonding relationship, so I didn't have something to go back and look to. Not that I'm blaming my father, but I look back on the things that I was not able to do to get the things that I needed from my father, which was love. The only thing that I got from the resemblance of that was when I was doing well on the football field. He loved me then because I think he loved the adulation that came from that and all the gratification. Hey, you're Brian Bosworth's father. You're the Bos's dad. What's it like? And all that other stuff. And like he was the architect of it. And we had issues. And having a broken family, trying to be part of a family, and being broken inside leaves you no other place but to be in the dark. And I tried everything I could to get out of the dark. I ran away. I was in Seattle for that short period of time, and I escaped and I ran away to Hawaii. I contemplated thoughts of suicide. I even tried, some crazy stuff that if I don't make it back, at least I was doing something that people can't say that I cowardly, did it. But I wasn't afraid to just say, I'm done. And that's how I was. I was to the point where I felt like I wasn't worth anything. I wasn't worth all the things that I had built up. And everybody had this grand illusion of who Brian was, and they always thought more of me than I really was. And I always tried to give them more than I really was. But he knew exactly who I was. And I was just Brian. And I needed to be okay with just being Brian. And that, during those years, it wasn't okay for me just being Brian. I had to be the boss. I had to come out with the shiny new this and my haircut and what am I going to say next? And it just became this monster that I couldn't control, and it overtook me. And I think that's why he took the gift away from me, because he realized the only way that you're going to find your way home is if I take everything away and see if you'll pick up the small breadcrumbs along the way. Because he never stopped chasing me. And that was the thing that was amazing. I blocked him out. When I got injured and I had to retire, I built a wall around my heart, and I just said, that's it. We started a grudge. I know where you are. I know where I'm at. We're not going to meet in the middle. I know that this is my path, and that you're not going to be included in that. And that was an acceptance that I had, because I felt that was the only safe thing I could do, because I felt like he hurt me so bad to take away the one thing that I loved so much. After working so hard to get to it, to only realize that the football was just a part of me. He's got much bigger plans for me. He's just an amazing gifter of love.
We got a picture of the cover of your book called
Yeah,
The Boss.
that's
called The Boss.
That's the boss.
Okay, so how did God break down those walls? Because you are totally different now than that. How did God break through that darkness, break through those walls specifically? How did God reach you?
He slowly showed me the man that I was going to end up being, because I chose to be that man. When I had a choice to be the man that he intended me to be. And he broke me down through a process, and it's organic, and it's real, and it was visceral for me. The end date was on March 3rd, 2013, in a bathroom in Chickasha, Oklahoma, in the auditorium of a high school, while I was doing a film tour on a faith-based film that I had just finished, and I was doing it in Oklahoma. And I had this pastor there in Chickasha, Oklahoma, and there were some things that led up to this moment, some little breadcrumbs that were very eerie. 44 was involved in that. I went to church that morning for the first time in many, many, many years. And they had a big screen screen up, and he was giving the sermon, and I looked up, and 44 is one of those numbers that just resonates in my life, and it shows up every day, multiple times a day, so I know it speaks to me. And I'm looking up on the screen, and I see one of those passages, and it's got, it's in there 44, and I'm sitting there with my wife at the time, and I nudge her, and she gets it. She thinks it's weird too. And, I said, it's 44. And then it happened again. And I go, hey, look, this is a 44, man, that is weird. And then it happened a third time, and I looked up and I said, stop. Stop messing with me, man. I know you're there. I know you're there. But don't chase me. Because if you chase me, I'm going to have to turn around, and I'm going to have to face you. And I'm going to have to make a decision. About making that decision is you have to give up. You have to give up everything that you think you are, because you're not. You're everything he knows you are.
Come on.
But you have to look in that mirror. And I looked in the mirror when the pastor came to me during the intermission, and he goes, "Do you think it's a coincidence that you're in Oklahoma doing a faith-based movie?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm here because it just kind of, I felt like I need to be here." Do you think it's an accident that you're here and all the things that were happening at the time? And I said, I don't know. I don't know where you're going with this. He said, no, this is providential that you are here at this moment in time. This is another intersection, another opportunity. There's millions of them out there. But here's an opportunity. If you want this pain to go away, if you want to come home, and he used that word for me. If you want to come home, now is your chance. He's giving you that invitation again. He wants you to come back. And I went in that bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I just started to cry. And I was like, wow, how arrogant am I that I would refuse a gift of love that is so undeniable. He's accepting me where I'm at, as broken as I am, and willing to let me come home and forgive all of it. And we're going to start over, and we're going to start a relationship that is going to be real and lasting. And that's the thing that I had to accept. You have to accept that relationship. And that relationship is not 50-50. It's not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's convenient for me today. It's not convenient for me tomorrow. It's convenient every moment of the day, that relationship is. That relationship is from that moment forward to knowing what I'm supposed to be doing. It gives me my 4 questions. Where am I from? Where am I at? Where am I going? And what am I willing to give up to get there? And I want to get home. That's where my ultimate goal is. And I want to spread the message to as many people that are out there that are broken, that are wondering, that are listening. I don't know if I can get home. I've done too many bad things. No, it's never too late. You always have an invitation to come home. But you have to be willing to accept and choose that moment of when that relationship begins. Because he's not going to start the relationship. You start that relationship with him. And that's the thing that I struggled with. Could I accept that relationship? And I came out, and there were 4 men standing there. There was, including me, four men standing there in a huddle. And I had one of the gentlemen that was standing there was a young man had died. It was the son of this father who was so looking forward to meeting me at this tour. And he was a senior. He was the star of this school, star of the church. He had scholarships to football and baseball, and just an amazing man. And he was driving to school one morning in Cherokee, Oklahoma, to high school, and his car slid off the road, went into a tree, and told him he was gone. And the pastor told me that, and I said, should we cancel the tour? He said, no, come on in. We still want you to come in. I said, and I don't know why I said that. I got emotional because I have my own children, and I couldn't imagine losing one. And I thought, well, should we dedicate, the film that night to him in his memory, Cody? And he goes, I don't know, let me think about that. I'll talk to the father about that. And then there was, so he came to me after the film was over, and he said, Brian, I'd like to talk to you a minute. And I had a message during that thing, and it was really all about, did you book your ticket home? And I knew where I was, and I was honest with the crowd. I said, I know I'm not going home because I know I've chosen not to accept that ticket. And this is before this event had happened to me. And the father of Cody stands there, he goes, Brian, and he's bawling, he's tearing up. And he's saying, Brian, we want you to come home. Cody's not the first child I've lost. I had a 15-year grudge against God. I know exactly where you are. There's so many paths that are so similar to your own path that you're not alone. You just have to reach out and start having communication with those around you. But Cody's father said, you're not alone. Cody's not the first son that I lost. I lost a little girl when she was 3 or 4 years old, and I couldn't handle it. So I started this grudge against God, and I knew I had to give it back because God's plan is greater than my plan. So he's asking me to come home. And then I look next to him, and here's this mountain of a man. He's 6'8" by 6'8". That's how highway patrolmen in Oklahoma are. So be careful when you break a ball in Oklahoma. He was on the site of the accident with Cody, and he had to peel Cody out of that car. And he's bawling, and he's a young guy. And he's going, I remember you, Brian. I was a big fan of you. I was a big fan of Boz. And I just want you to come home. I see the pain. I see the anger. I see all the things that are inside you. And I just want you to come home. So I got 2 men that are begging me to come home. And then I have Kim Hayes, who's the pastor, standing right there. And that's when he said, "Do you think it's an accident? You think it's you think it's a coincidence that you're here? Do you think that all of this is happening for no reason at all?" And it's not. He pre-planned all of this years before I ever got there. That this moment in my life was an opportunity for me to make a decision, to make a choice. And I had to make that choice. And when I gave my life to God, I'm going to tell you, it was the most visceral thing, because when a wall around your heart crumbles and falls, it shakes you from the inside out. In that moment, my life has changed. And to know that it was real, this is a funny story, real quick. Kim, the pastor, said, "Now, you have to share this. You can't keep this a secret." And I said, "All right, how do I do that?" She said, "Tell people, talk to people." All right. So I'm leaving. I have to drive back to Norman, and I'm in my big truck, and I'm running out of gas. And we've got 45 minutes to go. I'm in the dark, and there's no gas station open. And my light's on, and I'm going, "Oh, this is crazy. I'm running out of gas here in Chickasha, Oklahoma. There's no way I'm going to get home." I pull in at the gas station, the lights are off. I put my credit card in, the pump comes on. And I'm thinking, "Oh, that's weird." And I'm sitting there filling my gas tank up, and I'm thinking of what Kim said. He says, "You have to share this. You have to share this." And I thought, well, in this world today, people share things through media, through social media. So I just started the Twitter thing, and I thought, oh, I'm going to get hammered for this. I know I am if I put this out here, but I'm going to put it out there anyway because I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it. Look how far and look how long it took me to get to this point. It took me my whole life to get to this point to finally accept this invitation and start this relationship on these terms that was so real that I knew I had to get it out there. So I tweeted out, guess who just got saved? And I sent it, and I got home to Norman, and I went back and looked at it and said, well, let me see all the crazy things here. Oh, Boss has lost his mind, whatever. And I looked down, and I sent that at 6:44. I could have sent it any time. I just hit it.
No way.
I sent it at 6:44. It happens all the time. So I know the way God, He talks to you the way you will listen, and the way your antennas are geared to hear Him. So listen. Come home.
Oh, man, that got to me right there, brother. Okay, I've got some. These are called popcorn questions. All right, they're just real quick answers. First thing that comes to your mind. All right. Then we got a few more minutes. I got some more serious questions, but I want to get a couple of these. You ready?
Yeah.
Raiders or Rams?
No comment, Paul.
It's just the attitude, brother. I want dirt and broken bones. I don't want shiny.
Raiders need the Lord. But anyway.
The Lord knows how to get down and dirty if He has to. That's right. He's always at the back door. He'll kick Judas in the butt.
Judas plays for the Raiders. Okay, Lakers or Clippers?
Clippers.
Your favorite sport other than football?
Soccer.
Greatest athlete you've ever seen?
Bo Jackson. I mean, I met him at the goal line.
LeBron James. LeBron? Bo Jackson.
Michael Jordan.
Have you ever worn spandex? Don't answer that.
Like full body?
Cycling outfit.
What?
Cycling outfit. Never mind. Don't answer the question. Last time you cried at a movie?
Every one of them. If it's a real moving movie, I'm a crier, man.
I believe you after right now. If you could have dinner with 3 people, who would those 3 people be?
Well, Jesus would definitely be there. I'd like to get Coach Switzer there so that he could meet Jesus.
And what Raider would you want there?
The third one is I'd like to have my father there so that I can hug him.
Amen.
You golf?
Not very long. 2 artificial shoulders. I mean, how good can my swing really be?
I was going to ask you, do you pray before you hit the ball?
I just pray I can hit the ball.
Okay, all right. What is your greatest regret?
Not being humble when I needed to be humble and putting me before him on every occasion in my life.
Your greatest blessing?
Being saved, March 3rd, 2013, was my day of birth.
The last popcorn question. Is there anything uglier than Texas orange?
Anything other?
Uglier.
No, I mean, that burnt orange, it doesn't go with any, you can't put burnt orange on and go, well, black works with it. Black works with everything. It doesn't work with burnt orange.
Okay, if you had to do it all over again, your life, your career, being in Oklahoma, would you change? What would you change?
I would put him in the driver's seat and I would sit next to him and listen.
If you don't do the same,
I would be a better man throughout, and the impact would be.
where were you when Georgia beat Oklahoma January 1?
I was sitting at home. I couldn't go to the game. I had a feeling that we didn't have what we needed on one side of the ball.
Were you upset when they kicked the field goal down or the kickoff right?
That didn't make any sense.
Okay, all right.
We kicked the ball out of the end zone on every kickoff. Why would we give them 3 points?
Okay, I want to finish with a couple serious questions. We have a couple minutes here.
Right.
This is a tough culture in which we live. I tell people all the time, if you have children and you don't raise your children in the church, you don't have them there every single week, and you're not setting the example for your children at home in every godly way, that this culture will eat your child alive.
Correct.
And we live in California. It is, I know it's bad all over the country, but it's the culture here. It's like a riptide. It's just taking us out to sea. The first question is just for guys who have children. You have 3. What would you tell these men before you get out of here? One of the most important parenting things that they need to keep on the forefront of their mind every single day with their children.
Kids are sponges. They see what you do, and they mimic and mirror exactly who you are. I'm a prime example of it. I was my father the day before I got saved, and I chose to break that chain. When my son came to live with me, I knew I had, might not have been a broken relationship, but it wasn't a fulfilling relationship. I knew I had work to do. And I tapped him on the shoulder at the airport when he flew into Austin, and I said to him, hey, let's start this relationship on a great foundation. Truth, transparency, honesty, and trust. I don't care what happens. I just need to know what's happening. I'm never going to judge you because I know I've done things in the past. And I'm going to show you the kind of man that I am. I'm not going to tell you the kind of man I am because I'm going to live the kind of life that he's asked me to live. And the only way that you're going to affect your children is don't be a hypocrite. Do the things that he tells you to do. You know in your heart what's right and wrong. The choices, whether you're selfless or selfless. You have to choose those moments to teach your kids the right decision. And I tell my son, and he's made mistakes. I said, this environment is tough, and you're going to be surrounded by a lot of people, especially with your last name, and they're all going to have different things that they want from you, and you're going to find one day that you're going to be running around, and you're going to be circled by a bunch of wolves, and then you're going to have suddenly taken on the characteristics of the wolves because you're running in packs. And now you're running in a wolf pack. But listen to the words that I'm saying and see the actions that I'm taking. And have enough courage at one point in time, because that moment in time is always going to be there. That opportunity is going to be there for you in that pack of wolves to stand up and be a shepherd. Be a shepherd and walk away from the thing that you know, the decision that you're making is wrong. And you'll be surprised how many of those just don't have enough courage to walk away with you. Those are the ones that you can save. The others aren't, they're not savable, they're just not ready yet. But you be the shepherd and give an example.
Amen. We're going to take a break, and we got a mafia guy coming in here.
I heard Ben told me, and I said, what's his name? He goes, I don't know his name.
Have you ever met a
It's got to be
mafia
a
guy?
Paul or Paulie or an Anthony. So
You ever met a mafia guy?
not that I know of.
Okay, and then so we're going to have a mafia guy, and then I'm going to preach after the mafia guy. And then we'll be finished. But the last question, as Frank comes to dismiss us for our break. There's some guys here that need to come home. There's some men here today living in darkness who need to come to Christ. And the Lord's been calling them, and they've been saying no, they got the wall. I want you got 60 seconds to tell them that they need to come home.
Understand what the word faith means. To have faith. It's to follow him. It's to accept him and acknowledge him. To be inspired by him. To trust him and to honor him. And that's all faith is. So you're given an opportunity. There's many intersections in life. This is not an accident you're here. Nelson, you're out there somewhere. I met you out in the parking lot today. And your message was clear, loud, and proud. And as safe as it is in here for you guys to be together as men and have the testosterone you guys have for the faith of the Lord, have that same courage and fortitude when you walk out the doors and show the gift that the opportunity is here given for you today. And if you haven't accepted that relationship because you're not willing to give up the vices in your life, I don't care whether it's drinking, drugs, porno, whatever it is, there's only one true path home, and that's to him. That's to him. So have the courage to let those things that just drag you down and keep you chained to earth, let those things go. Put your ego and your arrogance and your pride aside and start a relationship with Jesus Christ. Because I'm going to tell you something, brothers, it will change not only your life, but it will change every person that you ever come in contact. Because the conversation you will have from that moment forward will be a different conversation. You're going to go, I don't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. But they are, because you're planting a seed for somebody else to grow. So help the Lord grow by starting with yourself. Let's put our hands together and thank God.
Pastor Dudley and Brian, give me a hand.